Welcome to today's episode of the podcast. I am excited to share this one with you because it is a message for somebody. And I don't actually know who this is for. I don't know if it's for a person or people. But I woke up this morning feeling really angsty and overwhelmed, and like everything was just feeling like it was too much on top of me. My thoughts were whirling around in my head, and I didn't know what to do with it, quite candidly, because yes, like everybody, I do get overwhelmed from time to time. We all get overwhelmed from time to time, but it felt different. And so got breakfast for the kids, and they got off to school. I say got off to school. They went up the stairs to their bedrooms to their computers because, of course, we're in lockdown. But they were off doing their thing. And so I sat down with my notebook and I was like, okay, God, what are you saying? What's this about? And what he said to me was that the feeling inside, this frustration, this angst, this overwhelmed, thoughts whirring, it wasn't mine. I was like, oh, okay, well, what do you mean by that then? He said, it's a reminder of the fact that there are people right now who are feeling very much like how you felt a lot of the time. Some of you may have read, I published earlier in the week, what I'm calling the Uia origin story. So I shared the story of me about a decade or so ago. Was it longer than that? I think, probably a little bit longer ago than that. A time ago, a good few years ago, when I was trying to be really a neat and tidy version of what it meant to be mum. And I shan't repeat that story here because you can read that over on the about page, uia.com/about. But the reminder I got this morning, and as I shared that story, the reason for sharing that story was that it's not just me. And there are other people right now today who are showing up, trying to hold it all together, try and be normal, in inverted commas, trying to do all of the things and be this picture of what it means to be a good mum, a good wife, a good, I don't know, whatever description you want to give yourself for that. And it's a lot, and it's too much. And what I heard very clearly from God this morning was I needed to share with you from him that he knows how you are feeling. He sees you, he is with you, and he is encouraging you to let go of that stuff. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean let go as in like just suddenly drop all of the balls. I know that there are expectations upon all of us. You know, there are things that I have to do because otherwise, you have to put the washing on, or do the dishes, or those things that if I had an unlimited supply of resources, would I have somebody else do them? Maybe. It's good for the economy, I don't know. But there are certain expectations that are probably good to do. So I'm not saying that God is saying drop all of the things and just let everything slide. However, what I believe he is reminding you of today is that you don't actually have to be carrying all of it all of the time. So all of those things that are going around in your head, he wants to encourage you to give those to him. Now, what that looks like for you it will vary from person to person. But I remember when we were doing the building project, lying in bed at a silly clock in the morning, thinking, there's this thing and that thing, and I was driving myself crazy. So as much as that origin story is from a good few years ago, I still do it. It's not as if I don't. The difference is that then I was not being me. I was being, I don't know who I was thought I was trying to be, but I wasn't acknowledging the times when stuff feels frustrating. I wasn't just, I didn't have the systems in place either that I have now to organise things. But anyway, I was lying in bed at, I don't know, perhaps 2, 3 in the morning, and all these thoughts, bear with. Apparently nobody told Amazon that I was recording the podcast this afternoon. Oh dear, apologies. And thank you for not disappearing. I was lying in bed at 3, 4 in the morning, all of these thoughts, because there was a lot of moving pieces with this building project. And one particular morning, I remember God saying, give it to me. And so I physically went through this act of, okay, I give it to you. Okay, this thing, okay, I give it to you. And every single thing that came up in my mind, okay, I give it to you. And so sometimes that act of giving those things to God is like it's a mental exercise in your head where you think those things through and then you give them to him. Some people like to do actual physical, they write them on a piece of paper and then they fold them up and they put them somewhere. I know one of the ladies in the playground's got her God jar. So these things that she gets worried about, or these things on her mind, she writes them on a piece of paper and then she gives them to God in her God jar. So what that looks like for you will depend upon you. You know, that is the spirit of you being you here. There is no one size fits all. But the real reminder, and I'm going to have to look at my notes here because I don't want to forget what he said, because there were some really nice pieces in there. He said that he's inviting you to give it all to him. And because he wants to give you hope. He doesn't want you to feel like you're going to feel like this all of the time. And I was reminded of that verse in Jeremiah about it, where he says about you have a hope and a future. And he said he loves you, and he's so very, very proud of you. And that made me go, oh. And so this episode of the podcast is really quite different to normal, because I didn't know what we would be doing. I didn't even know if we were going to have an episode this week because we didn't have anything. And so having that experience of that pent up feeling, I was like, oh, it really wasn't very comfortable. And so I just want to encourage you, if that is you, just know, like I've already said, God sees you, he knows you, he loves you, and he's so, so proud of you. He also told me to tell you, and I know this will sound like I'm just making this up, but I'm not. He said that if you need those reminders, he said to invite you. How did I get this right, my friend? He told me to invite you that if you'd like more of those stories of his love, that's what he's going to be having me write about in the Heaven and Hell stories that we're going to be doing. And they're going to be day-to-day happenings, and I'll be saying to God, well, okay, what's that about? What are you saying through this event, this story, this happening? And then we're going to be sharing those stories. So if you're not already somebody who has those stories, you can get them youier.com/heavenandl, or just go to heavenandl.com and it'll redirect you. Playground members who either catch this now or catch the replay later, you already get those stories in the playground. So you don't need to sign up again. But more than anything, the reminder that I had from God for you today is that he knows you, he sees you, he has hope, and he's offering you hope and a future, and he loves you, and he's so very, very proud of you. So I just want to thank you for allowing me to share that with you today. I feel like I'm here as a messenger, which feels really wonderful, because I love sharing those messages of love, and we've talked about God's love before, but it felt really personal today. So, and if I should add as well, if you're somebody who you're going, oh yeah, that's me. If I can help at all, if you want a little bit of a cheer up, drop me a message, because God has you here for a reason right now, and so I don't think that's an accident. Don't believe in coincidences. We sometimes call them God incidences, but you are here for a reason, and if you don't need this reminder today, it might be one that you need to store up for a future date. But he knows you, he sees you, he loves you, and he's proud of you. Thank you for being here. I look forward to catching up with you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.